on last week on the show, and I know Saka doesn't have a lot of faith in your percentages, but you gave us a 50-50% for either Arsenal or Manchester City after what we saw from them to win the title. So after the news that we got from this international break, with the fact that Gabriel was in action with Brazil and now he's going to be out for at least a month, does that peg Arsenal back a bit now, or is it still 50-50 for you?
No, I think it's still 50-50. I think they've got players that can come in. I mean, no one's Gabriel for them. I think he's one of the most important players for Arsenal. But City have got a very tough game away at St James's Park against Newcastle. North London derby coming up for Arsenal. So I just think it's very, very early. The start that they've had has been magnificent. I think they have been flowing. The game against Sunderland was a hard-fought 2-2 draw, and I thought Sunderland deserved their point out of the game. But you look at the fixtures coming up. I mentioned London derbies for them, so that's where the difficulty is going to come. But there's so much time, and there's so many games to try and say, right, who's a standout favourite? I know it's what we like to do, because as fans and as analysts and pundits, we try and predict the future, and we look into the crystal ball and we think, right, who's good, who's flowing, who's struggling a little bit. Take Liverpool completely out of the equation. I don't think they're ready for a title charge at all. So City, I think it's a captain obvious shout what I'm going to say, but after this weekend we'll know that a little bit more, because as I said, there's hard fixtures to come.
Hi, Captain Obvious.
Well, let's have a look at the Premier League standings there. Manchester City, they're in second, and as we know, they have chased down Arsenal before. Up next this weekend, they do have a nice little trip to St James's Park to face Newcastle. And if we have a look at Newcastle's form away from St James's Park, we know it has not been well. Usually we call St James's Park quite the fortress, but Don, if you look at it, they have lost to some big guns at home, the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Barcelona, but they did manage to beat Spurs in the League Cup. So how do you see this game going?
Listen, I'd fancy Newcastle against anyone at home. I've been up there. I've seen them beat. I've seen them beat the likes of Man City in a cup. I've seen them beat Paris Saint-Germain. I've seen them beat Man United. I've seen them beat anyone. Tottenham by 6.
But not Arsenal.
Newcastle are a different animal.
And not Liverpool. And not Barcelona.
Just keep naming every win they've ever had.
You say not Arsenal, but not Arsenal this season. They beat them there last season and the season before. So you're looking at a microcosm of a fixture when you say, well, they can't beat Arsenal anymore. Well, only one game, because they've beat them plenty of times over the last couple of years. So
but this season's the one that matters,
Newcastle are a different animal when they play at home.
All right, let's go to our other Newcastle guy. Shaka, what do you think then on this one? Because I know...
To Don's point, both the winners against Arsenal and Liverpool came in injury time at the very end of the game. So, and Liverpool were flying high at the time when they went to St James's Park and won. Arsenal are flying high all season long. Are Manchester City the equivalent of early season Liverpool and current Arsenal? No, I still think no. I still think Arsenal are the best team in the league, bar none. So now the question is, do Manchester City, as good as they have been, do they have what it takes to go to St James's Park and win? I still know, as hopeful as I am that City are the team, and I believe they're the only team that can make this any kind of a title race later on, I just don't think they're as good as Arsenal. I don't think they can go to St James's Park and win. I think Newcastle, their away form is really kind of shining on them negatively. They are far better than their league position would suggest. At home, they get a job done.
Right. Somebody, because Don is not going to be able to do this, somebody has to explain to me, right? How can this be 50-50 Arsenal, Manchester City, when Arsenal are leading by 4 points? So just by that logic, you cannot have the same chance of winning the league if you're trailing by 4 points.
This is by Don's standards.
Yeah, well, but Don's standards, well, you have to grade on a curve then.
You know Don's percentages are curvy.
Don's percentages are curvy.
Yeah, that's just...
They're all over the shop.
Ali's obviously not capable of looking at my percentages or the algorithms of Saka. When Man City have chased down Arsenal a couple of times over the years. No, I'm bigging them up.
Mine are
Shaq, I'm
science.
bigging them up.
No, you're not. He's bigging them
I'm
up.
bigging them up, Shaq.
No,
because
when you
Ali-
line them to your
I am, because
percentages,
Ali
no.
can't get into gear.
No.
Ali can't get in. He can't get in the algorithms. He comes from a more. Ali comes from a more simplistic place. Ali looks at it very simply. He looks at the
Simple.
points tally,
Well,
and he goes,
a
"Oh,
simple
one.
Arsenal are 4 points clear. They should win the title, and they will win the title."
But right
It
now
comes
we're
down to emotion, Ali,
Yeah,
and the bottom of the team. Can they get it done?
Right, fantastic.
It's 50-50.
Beautiful.
But-
Okay, all of that is great. But my simple mind tells me that if a team is up 4 points, right now where we are, because the percentage is now, not 6 months from now, the percentage is now. My very simple mind tells me that team is more likely to win it than the other team.
Gab, you've got the Italian hands up. Let's let Gab in, because he's got the Italian hands up.
Alexis said to me,
Look,
Gabriel's injured.
let me explain.
Does that change the equation?
Now, you're overcomplicating this. Let's keep it in a simple way that ex-footballers understand.
Okay.
You guys all play golf, right? Yeah. Think
Not
of
very
it
well, but-
as a handicap. Yeah, Ali, if you play off a 12 and Craig plays off an 8, then you have an advantage, right? Because it's a handicap. But it still might be 50-50. That's what he's saying. He's implicitly saying
Gab, I appreciate
that Manchester City.
Gab, I appreciate you trying to explain
That's
this.
how math works.
I appreciate what you're trying to do here. But if you think Don gave it that much thought as to somehow project this into a golf handicap, then you're really overestimating Don's ability to do simple math.
I think Don gives it a lot of thought. He loves his
I
percentages.
tell you what then, Ali, if you are so confident Arsenal will win the league, go and take £10,000 of your hard-earned money and go and stick it on Arsenal.
Hey, how about
You are that confident.
Hey, how about you pay me the dinner you owe me that you haven't
Don't dodge the question.
The
Do
bet
not
you
dodge
lost
the
to me.
question.
The bet you lost to me. You can pay that, and then I will put the £10,000
I will
on my
pay that.
hard-earned money. Good Lord.
Do not dodge the question. That will be paid when I see you in the summer. Gabriel's going to be a big loss for them. That was the question that was posed.
There's some players behind us, but you can choose someone else who's missed out on that list. Everyone at home, let us know. You know how to do that. But Stephen, go on and make your case.
Granit Xhaka. He is a captain of old. He is on the pitch, he directs the tempo, he decides whether we take the drop in midfield pass or the long pass up the flanks. He tells everybody where to go. He's like another coach on the field. It's like an enormous training session, and he's in charge. And everything about where Sunderland are and the results they have in the league and continuing all the way to the end, that all those standards and those demands and that drive is set by him. And I think he's really showing you what a really good top quality captain can do to transform a team. So he must be.
You've made a good case there, Stephen, I've got to say. Johnny, anyone on that list for you, or have we missed someone?
I think Pedro was a great signing for Chelsea, but I actually agree with, I think Xhaka has been the best signing. Walter Marder's been fantastic for Newcastle, but I think Xhaka, for what he's doing at Sunderland, is phenomenal, and I think he's the best signing so far.
Daniel?
I think one that I might regret saying actually is Martin Zubimendi. So Zubimendi at Arsenal. I know he's angry. I'm sorry, but let's be honest. Let's be honest, man.
Dan, what are you doing to me here? Good work, Dan. Good work.
Listen. I mean, I really regret saying it, but he is by far one of the best central midfielders I've seen in Spain. And he's definitely performing for Arsenal, and that's something that we would like for ourselves at Spurs as well.
Mind games, Jamie. He's just putting pressure.
Jamie,
he's putting pressure on them.
Come on.
You've got Arsenal shirt on under there. We need to check him out in the break.
Not in disguise. Not in disguise.
James, is it obvious what you're going to say?
Yeah, and Mbeumo's been our best one, but I think you definitely Xhaka argument for the best overall is there. And obviously, growing up as a kid, he loves Sunderland as well, so it's good to see him go back to his boyhood club.
Katie, at Bournemouth, who have you got? Is anybody saying that we're missing anybody?
Listen, I could make a case for Adrian Truffert. for Bournemouth. I could.
Fair point,
In terms of the fact that Milos Kerkez has gone to Liverpool and maybe not performed as well as they'd have hoped, and obviously cost us a lot less. But in terms of what the others are saying, I think Granit Xhaka across the Premier League probably has been the best signing in terms of the fact that the experience he's brought to a promoted club. We've seen previously in the last few seasons that the promoted clubs haven't perhaps had that stability, and he's provided that for Sunderland in their hopes to stay up and currently qualify for Europe.
Well, touch wood, Jamie, I'll get to you in a moment. But, go on.
Hand out the award right now. I mean, it's universal, isn't it?
At the moment, Joe?
I can't think of a Palace player, unfortunately. Pino's the only one, but he's still coming up to speed. But for me, Granit Xhaka, like the leadership quality that he brings. I mean, they're in the top 4. I mean, it's ludicrous. So Zubimende as well. I will give. Sorry, Jamie. I think Zubimende's been really good. Eze not so much, unfortunately, from Palace perspective. But Kudus as well. I'm surprised you didn't say Kudus because he's had quite an impact for Spurs.
It's a good point. Kudus is definitely one, but it's because when I'm seeing the influence so far, Zubimendi's been standing out so far for Arsenal, really.
But it's Xhaka, isn't it? It's
definitely
Xhaka's by far.
I think people forget.
Javi Simmons, I was going to say. Javi Simmons.
Xavi.
Great start to the season.
What about Florian Wirtz? What about him?
Everyone's opinion is valid.
I think Xhaka. You talk about leadership. You talk about a club coming up from the Championship. Everyone expecting us to finish bottom. And
No. Didn't expect that.
Well, maybe not you, but everyone else did. But fair play to him. Jordan Henderson as well. I mean,
Brentford,
we've got to talk about him. He's come in. Everyone was thinking he was the forgotten man. He's gone in at Brentford. They're doing really well. And Donnarumma. I mean,
I think value for money. Champions League winning goalkeeper, 26 million.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else made a signing as good as that.
Surprise when he went for that fee, wasn't it?
Liverpool.
That could be a good sign.
I don't think that's arguing.
A few there, right? Okay.
The future of Ethan Nwanery's potential loan move is suddenly uncertain, as Arsenal remain wary of repeating past setbacks caused by injuries. According to recent reports, the club is open to sending the young midfielder out on loan this winter, but the idea raises immediate questions. Nwanery has become the talk of the moment after a report from the Daily Mail suggested that Arsenal are considering a temporary move for the 18-year-old. Despite his limited minutes this season, the thought of letting him leave, even temporarily, comes with significant doubts. Back in October, Mikel Arteta publicly insisted that Nwanery would have plenty of opportunities to play, pointing to the fact that the teenager had already been called upon when Martin Odegaard was injured. "I don't know, but I don't work with expectations," Arteta said at the time. "I work with what the players can give in the context of where the team is at that moment." Ethan played 2 Premier League matches early on because Martin was out. He's played in other competitions and he'll play more. Yet the reality has been very different. Nwanery has logged fewer than 500 minutes this season, appearing in just 5 of Arsenal's 11 Premier League games, none of them as a starter. His only starts came in the 2 EFL Cup wins over Port Vale and Brighton, and in the 3-0 Champions League victory against Slavia Prague. The arrival of Ebereki Eze and the promotion of Max Daumann have tightened competition even further. And despite injuries to Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, and Noni Madueke, Nwanery's pathway has only narrowed. It's easy to forget how young he still is. At 18, and having first debuted at just 15, like Daumann, these are formative years where consistent playing time is crucial. The busy festive period could open that door, but with Odegaard, Madueke, and Kai Havertz all nearing their returns, there's a real chance Nwanery could slide even further down the pecking order. This is why a January loan sounds logical on paper, but it also sets off alarm bells. Arsenal's season has already been shaped by injuries for the second year in a row, and squad depth has never felt more essential. A single setback among the attacking players over the holiday fixture run could thrust Nwanery back into an important role almost overnight. The more sensible approach may be to reassess in the summer, once the squad naturally reshapes and the club have a clearer picture of their needs heading into 2025. Only then would a loan feel more secure, ensuring Nwanery actually gets the minutes he needs rather than risking another stalled development. Even then, nothing is guaranteed. Supporters will remember Serge Gnabry's loan to West Brom, intended to push him closer to first-team football, but ultimately a move that derailed his progress before he rebuilt his career in Germany. Arsenal's recent history with loans has been mixed at best, and too often unsuccessful. For now, the club must weigh the immediate needs of the squad against the long-term growth of one of their brightest prospects. Whether a loan becomes the right option, or another cautionary tale, remains to be seen. But the complexity of Nwanery's situation extends beyond simply playing time and squad depth. Inside the club, There is an ongoing debate about how quickly young talents should be exposed to the pressures of elite-level football. Some staff members argue that Nwaneri's technical level is already above many players his age and that keeping him close to Arteta's structure will accelerate his development. Others believe that without consistent starts, and without a clear pathway to earn them, his progress could plateau. The uncertainty has also stirred conversation among supporters and pundits. Several former Arsenal players have expressed concern that the club may be repeating old patterns, where promising youngsters become trapped between first-team aspirations and inconsistent minutes. Others, however, believe the club is being careful for the right reasons, protecting a player who still needs physical development before facing the demands of weekly Premier League battles. This internal and external pressure has placed added scrutiny on Arteta's handling of young talents this season. While he has been praised for trusting academy graduates in the past, the balance has become harder to maintain now that Arsenal are competing on multiple fronts and aiming for silverware. Every decision carries weight. Resting senior players risks losing points, while overusing inexperienced teenagers risks injury or decline in confidence. There is also the broader question of what kind of loan would actually benefit Nwaneri, should the club eventually decide to pursue one. A move to a Premier League side fighting relegation could offer minutes, but expose him to a demanding environment that prioritizes survival over development. A championship loan, on the other hand, might provide consistent matches, but at the cost of adjusting to a more physical style that does not always align with Arsenal's tactical identity. European options have been mentioned as well, though not confirmed. The possibility of joining a club in the Netherlands or Germany, leagues known for nurturing young talent, has been discussed quietly among observers. Yet Arsenal are hesitant, given how unpredictable such moves can be and how often they fail to produce the expected results. Meanwhile, Nwaneri himself remains focused and professional, according to those around the training ground. He is said to be eager for opportunities, but not frustrated or discouraged. The coaching staff admire his attitude, which only complicates the decision further. He is doing everything right, and still his future remains uncertain. As Arsenal approach the January window, the club finds itself at a crossroads. The next few weeks will likely be decisive, not just for Nwaneri's short-term career, but for how Arsenal choose to manage their most gifted prospects in an era of high expectations and relentless schedules. Any decision made now will be examined closely, not only because of what it means for Nwaneri, but because it will signal how the club intends to balance ambition with development as they move into the next phase of Arteta's project. Arsenal now face a difficult setback. Piero Hincapié may have to step into the North London derby under less than ideal circumstances after Gabriel's injury blow. The club is hoping that Hincapié's long late return trip to North London won't affect his readiness to replace Gabriel against Tottenham, because losing the Brazilian for such a crucial match is a major hit to Mikel Arteta's plans. Arsenal have already been forced to cope with key absences at various stages of the season, but Gabriel missing the derby presents a challenge of a very different magnitude. Naturally, the focus shifts to who will fill the gap on the left side of Arsenal's defense, and for many, the most logical answer is Piero Hincapié. The summer signing impressed during his only start for the club so far, an outstanding display at left centre-back in the League Cup win over Brighton. That night, he partnered with Christian Mosquera, who is also an option for Arteta on Sunday. One possible configuration would see William Saliba move to the left, with Mosquera taking his place on the right, depending on how heavily Hincapié's international travel weighs on Arteta's decision. And that travel is far from insignificant. The Ecuadorian defender is currently away with his national team. He captained Ecuador during their 0-0 draw with Canada, helping secure the clean sheet. But the real concern comes with his final international fixture. Ecuador face New Zealand in New Jersey in the early hours of Wednesday morning, UK time. The match kicks off at 1:30 a.m. and is expected to finish around 4 a.m. Only after that will Hincapié board his flight back to England, meaning he won't arrive in London until Wednesday afternoon at the earliest. From there, he will have just a handful of days to recover, settle back in, and prepare for one of the most intense fixtures of the season. The slight silver lining is that the derby falls late in the weekend, giving him as much time as possible to reintegrate. Still, the timing of his return is far from ideal and adds yet another layer of uncertainty to Arsenal's defensive preparations ahead of a match that could define their momentum for weeks to come. Beyond the logistical headache, Arteta and his staff must also consider the physical and tactical demands that a North London derby imposes. It is not the sort of match where a defender can arrive underprepared, particularly against a Tottenham side that has looked sharp in attack this season. Any hesitation, any lapse in intensity caused by travel fatigue, could be costly. Inside Arsenal, there is a quiet concern that the club may once again be walking a tightrope with its defensive depth. Over the past 2 seasons, injuries at the back have forced Arteta into uncomfortable choices, and Gabriel's setback reopens a conversation that the club hoped was behind them. The manager has repeatedly emphasized the importance of continuity across the defensive line, especially given how central the high defensive line and controlled build-up are to Arsenal's identity. Gabriel and Saliba have been at the core of that stability, and disrupting it inevitably changes the team's rhythm. Analysts close to the club have noted that Hincapie's profile fits the role well, confident under pressure, quick across the ground, and capable of progressing the ball with either foot. However, they also caution that he is still adapting to the Premier League's pace and physicality. Throwing him straight into a derby environment may accelerate his integration, but it also carries risk. Supporters have expressed mixed reactions as well. Many are eager to see Hincapie given a real opportunity, believing his style suits Arsenal's long-term plans. Others worry that asking him to deliver immediately, under difficult circumstances, could place unnecessary pressure on a player still in the early stages of adjusting to English football. The timing of Gabriel's injury also complicates Arsenal's broader goals. With a congested winter schedule approaching and the title race tightening, every match takes on heightened importance. Dropping points against Tottenham could shift momentum, not just in the standings but in confidence across the squad. It also forces Arteta to rethink how he manages minutes for defenders who have already logged heavy workloads this season. Club insiders say the staff have been preparing contingency plans for weeks, anticipating scenarios where international duties and injuries overlap. Yet even the best planning can be stretched thin when travel delays and late-night kickoffs are added to the equation. In the coming days, the medical and performance teams will conduct assessments to determine exactly how ready Hincapie is for Sunday's showdown. Arteta is expected to make a late decision, balancing long-term health with short-term necessity. The hope is that the Ecuadorian arrives in good condition, responds well to training, and can at least offer a reliable solution in Gabriel's absence. What remains undeniable is that Arsenal enter the derby under a new layer of pressure, forced to adapt, to trust their depth, and to test the resilience that has been a defining theme of their season so far.